Now, the caste practices and the lower castes and the minorities. How is the caste system practiced? We will like to understand and throw light on what are the problems that are faced by the people, and later how did the writers brought them into novels and how did they want to bring that in their understanding. So for that it would be a best example to take Indulekha, a love story. Indulekha was a very beautiful lady who was a spellbounding beauty, and she belongs to the community of Nambutri Brahmins of Kerala, who are being very special privileged classes in the society. According to that time, they are the highest category of caste during in the Kerala existence. So the upper caste people are Nambudris, and the Nayars are considered as the little bit lower when compared to the Nambudri Brahmins, because Nambudri Brahmins are acting as landlords and they are landlords, whereas Nayars are the tenants who worked very hard and earned their own incomes. So that's how both are economically strong, the strong upper caste communities itself, but there is a controversy in their marriage alliance between the Nambudris and the Nayars. So our writer tries to bring out the comparison by writing a book in which he brought the characters of Indulekha and Madhavan. Indulekha and Madhavan belongs to Nayars community, whereas Indulekha belongs to Nambudri Brahmins community. So most of the times we prefer to marry our own community people. Even today we have many of the people preferring to marry their own community people. So Suri Nambudri, who belongs to the same community of Indulekha's community, wanted to marry her, so he came. So this turns to be a very sarcastic situation where a person who was not qualified, not well educated like of Indulekha, not very beautiful or like good looking when it compared to Indulekha, he comes to look after her and he expresses the view that he want to marry. Though being of the same caste, Indulekha rejects Suri and prefers to marry Madhavan. Madhavan and Indulekha, after marriage, they moves to Madras to establish their family relationship away from the influence of the caste prejudices, and later Madhavan joins the civil services. That's how the story ends, and in this the writer want to bring up the understanding that marriage is something which has to be understood between two individuals, and the caste system doesn't have anything to impact on them. It should be modernized. The caste influence have to be reduced. The ideologies of the people have to be synchronized. That he want to bring in, and he want to make the people to understand that marriage alliance only can disrupt and eradicate this caste system completely. And later, when we move on to the other stories, like when we talk about the upper caste people, they not this story. Generally, Indulekha was a bit away from the traditional formalities. But the other most of the writers who came from the upper caste people always used to write the books upholding the greatness of the upper caste and lowering down the cadre of the lower caste people. But when it comes to the lower caste people coming up, Poteri Kunjamba, Poteri Kunjambu, a North Kerala who belongs to the lower caste community, he writes a book called Saraswati Vijayam. In this Saraswati Vijayam, he brings the importance of education in an understandable manner to all the people, which was released in 1892. This book of Saraswati Vijayam is a book in which he is able to understand what are the practical problems that are going to be associated when there is a education available for you and when there is no education for you. Here he would try to highlight the story of what happened for them. Like he tries to bring out the story of a young boy who was working under a landlord who was belonging to the Nambudri community person. Under him he is working, so he could not tolerate the pressure and the atrocities which are faced towards him. So he runs away from the village and he gets well educated and returns as a judge to the local court. In the meanwhile, the villagers filed a complaint against the landlord and they started to interrogate him, and finally the case comes to hearing after a long time, where this young boy who ran away from there, whose case is running as missing, who was been considered as killed person by the landlord, the judgment will be given. Before the judgment is given and afterwards the identity will be revealed. So he feels very sorry, the landlord, and then he apologizes and then he corrects his behavior. So that's how education can liberate us from all the barriers of caste, color, creed, race and sex. So that it should be added for us and we should get benefited from that. That's what the writer Kunjambu want to focus and explain to all the people by bringing this understanding to the people on a larger scale. And later when we move on to the other aspects, like in 1920s we have a book written by Advaita Mala Burmans. Advaita Mala Burmans belong to the lower caste, where in his book Titansh Eki Nadirnam, Titansh Eki Nadirnam, Titansh Eki Nadirnam is a book which was released in 1956. In this book he explicitly discussed about the particular subcaste called Mala. This subcaste Mala, where he describes the story of a fisherman and the different dialects used by the fishermen and the situations which happen for a fisherman family. A fisherman family who gets recently married and they were separated after their early marriage days. So a boy will be born for them, that boy naming Ananta. So he also will be turning himself into a fisherman. He faces a lot of problems in the society, and that's so through this man, this particular boy, the writer want to bring in what are the problems that are being encountered by this boy being in the lower caste community, what are the problems that he faced, what his family is facing, how the family got broke up, what are the other additions, what are the feelings of the upper caste people, how they used to demoralize this boy. All these things were discussed, and not only this, the culture of the Malas has been discussed, the Holi and the Kali Puja were explicitly discussed, and later he also ends the story up saying that the river has dried and brought the story to an end, where the Ananta also passed away because they lost their occupation, the basic, because they are basically fishermen people, they lost their occupation. So we have discussed about the Titansh. Titansh has been a special book in which the writer itself belongs to the very lower caste community. That's the reason why he explained explicitly and detailedly about the fisher community people and the Mala community people, what problems they have been facing. And later now, moving on to the other famous writers, till that time the writing did not become very good place in the literatures. It could not get a very appealing place in the literatures, but it is only with the contributions of Vaikom Mahmud Bashir in Malayalam, who got an enormous publicity for his books. He has been a remarkable first well-known writer in Malayalam of the later period. He was actually belonging to Malayalam and he studied only up to 5th standard. So how can you expect a 5th standard person or a boy would imagine the world to a very large extent? Why did he leave the school in the 5th standard? He left the school in the 5th standard and participated in the Salt Satyagraha. The Salt Satyagraha is a momentum which started during when he is studying in 5th class. Then later on he went on traveling to North and South India, and later he travelled entirely up to Arabia in the ships, where he got to interact with the people of Hindus, Muslims and all the other communities of people where the real problems are there, where the real poverty condition was present, where the atrocities were in extreme phase. He recorded all these things as short stories and novels, and he added sarcastic style for this one, and he released them into the market. When these books are published, they gave him a wide range of appeal from the people, like this is an understanding, and this sarcastic nature also made the people to feel shame that what is actually being practiced was a wrong practice. So that's how Bashir made a remarkable contribution through his books. So the books started to bring in the questioning of the actual caste system, actual discrimination basing on the caste system. The lower caste and the minorities really faced lot of problems and lot of difficulties because of the caste system.
If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel to get more videos on CBSE syllabus.